Hello again. I'm holding a delightful collection of stories called The Tales of the Arabian Nights. In order to save her life, the beautiful Scheherazade tells her husband, the Sultan, a string of wonderful tales. She tells him the story of Sindbad, the sailor, Aladdin and the wonderful lamp, Ali Baba and the 40 robbers, and many, many others. Is the Bible just a collection of stories like the Arabian Nights? Some people claim that it is. Sometimes critics of the Bible describe it as a collection of fairy tales. If they want to sound a little bit more sophisticated, they say the Bible contains the mythology of the Hebrews. And they'll point to a few story elements that are common to the Bible and to some of the ancient Near Eastern myths. Other critics bypass the mythology connection and simply say Christians are naive because they choose to believe a story with a happy ending, at least for themselves. Now, with regard to the first accusation, I have to wonder if these people have read any fairy tales and myths. I've read many of the ancient Near Eastern myths. I'm familiar with Greek, Roman, Norse mythology. I can say emphatically that the Bible is not like these. It's different from all of them. It is true that there are some common points of comparison. For example, the number 7 is found in the account of the creation, and indeed throughout the Bible, and in a number of ancient Near Eastern stories. There are parallels between some of the ancient Near Eastern flood accounts and the account of the flood at Noah's day. That wouldn't be surprising, shouldn't be surprising, if the flood actually happened and if various peoples retained a memory of the event. But what we find missing from Scripture is this. Scripture has no tales of quarreling, sexually immoral, petty gods. If anything, the Bible should be described as an anti-mythology. From the creation account onward, it is deliberately hostile to the kind of worldview that lies behind all ancient mythologies in whatever culture. In The Beauty of God for a Broken World, which I wrote recently, I argue that Jesus Christ is different from all rival gods, ancient and modern. Now, with regard to the charge that the Bible is just a story, I admit, I insist that it is a beautiful story. Now, there is, of course, a seductive kind of beauty that corrupts the heart and destroys the soul. But at the very deepest levels, beauty and truth and goodness belong together, and they depend on each other. Now, granted, there are some parts of the story of the Bible that seem ugly, especially to modern and postmodern ears. But that brings to mind a line from The Lord of the Rings. When Frodo decides to trust the rough-looking stranger, Strider, he says, "You have frightened me several times tonight, but never in the way that servants of the enemy would, or so I imagine. I think one of his spies would, seem fairer and feel fouler, if you understand." When I wrote The Beauty of God for a Broken World, I wanted to show something of the beauty of the Bible's God and of the Bible's story, even in the parts that, like Strider, don't seem fair at first glance. Because beauty and truth are not enemies, the deep beauty of the Bible's story is one of the great evidences of its truth.